Former UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira, he'll be having his rematch against Magomed Ankalaev. What do you think that he needs to do to win that title back?
I think the fight will be mostly the same, but I think Alex could pressure a little bit more because now Alex knows that he can defend the takedown. He can risk to find that knockout, and I think the fight will be better for him.
Alex Pereira stunned fight fans by stepping on the scale at an eye-popping 234 pounds just 2 weeks before his scheduled UFC 320 title rematch against Magomed Ankalaev. That number means he has to cut nearly 30 pounds in less than 14 days. A brutal process even for someone known for massive weight drops. The sight of Pereira weighing 106.2 kilos sparked disbelief across social media, with fans pointing out the absurdity of shedding that much in such a short span. Some were amazed, others were concerned, and a few critics even argued that such extreme cuts should not be allowed in modern MMA. But as history has shown, Pereira has built his career on making these grueling transformations, and despite the shock value, many believe he'll still show up on point at 205 pounds come fight week.
You sometimes feel that you're really gonna die. I wasn't able to sleep in 48 hours because I was so dehydrated. My body was so skinny, and I was dreaming with water, with food, with everything. My social media, everything was about the food. At that moment, you don't give a f about anything material, about anything.
This weight revelation comes as Pereira gears up for one of the most important nights of his career. He is set to headline UFC 320 in Las Vegas, once again standing across from Ankalaev, the man who stripped him of his light heavyweight crown earlier this year. The Brazilian has carried belts in both middleweight and light heavyweight, proving his ability to climb through divisions while maintaining his dangerous striking style. Still, the challenge before him now is twofold: surviving the physical demand of a 30-pound cut and finding a way to flip the result from their first encounter.
Back to Magomed, when you see the footage of him going home with the belt that was yours, and all the hoopla and stuff, how does that make you feel?
People say that he won, people say that he lost, people say that I win, very contested, right? Why didn't give it a draw and I left to the belt?
So you are very motivated to get the belt back.
Absolutely. I can't wait for this moment to happen again, and it's going to be a very different fight. That day was not the same Alex Pereira, so if come the regular Alex Pereira, it's already more than that. But imagine now if it's different. It doesn't have to be a knockout, but I feel that I have enough game to do whatever I want with this guy.
The previous fight ended with Ankalaev winning by unanimous decision at UFC 313, while Pereira held his own, particularly in the wrestling exchanges where many thought he would falter. It was Ankalaev's steady pressure and control that swung the scorecards. Pereira has since admitted he made tactical mistakes, and now he insists those errors have been corrected. For him, the rematch isn't just about reclaiming gold, it's about proving that he can outsmart the same man who exposed his shortcomings just months ago.
Ankalaev is just so good. I think a couple things. I think Alex has a great chance of beating him in the rematch. I think Alex goes too hard. I mean, how many title defenses did he have? Going up and down weight classes. Where Ankalaev rides the bench for a certain amount of time, being that active and not only that, being a superstar. No one knows who Ankalaev is. Ankalaev walks down the street, no one knows who that guy is. Alex is a superstar. He can't leave his house without someone saying, "Oh, there's Alex, should we take a picture?" It kind of takes a toll on the mind. Where, you take Ankalaev, who just lives in a fucking cave somewhere. I don't even know where that guy's from, but dude, he probably lives in a fucking cave somewhere and just, he doesn't have to deal with the same pressures of being famous as you do in the U.S. So I think Alex, if he just takes a step back, clears his brain, comes in fresh, stop traveling all over the fucking world, I think he has a legitimate shot of beating him.
After arriving in Las Vegas, Pereira once again posted his scale reading, showing 234.1 pounds. That number was enough to get people talking, but the bigger storyline is that he has never missed weight in his entire MMA career. Even when he was competing as a middleweight, he managed to repeatedly drag his massive frame down to the 185-pound limit, winning championships and delivering highlight knockouts along the way. The fact that he can do this consistently is almost as impressive as the wins themselves, and fans have grown used to holding their breath until the official weigh-in day arrives.
It's hard because it's funny. I don't think of it as difficult because I can skate better, I can walk. So I don't think you're you can slippery out there. It's
But while Pereira stays calm, not everyone is convinced he's fully dialed in. Chael Sonnen, always sharp with his observations, suggested that Pereira's composure might actually be a red flag. In Sonnen's view, great fighters usually wear their hunger and focus on their sleeve, throwing everything into preparation. To him, Pereira's relaxed demeanor doesn't scream urgency, and that's concerning with a world title on the line. Sonnen also explained that this rematch has high stakes beyond the belt. If Pereira wins, he solidifies himself as the top dog at 205 pounds. If he loses again, it could close the chapter on his light heavyweight ambitions and perhaps open the door to a move up to heavyweight, a goal Pereira has never hidden from fans.
Will you come out and support and watch and be into the fight 2 more times? Because if Pereira wins, that's the only honorable thing to do. Right? You gotta settle the score. Pereira knows this better than anybody. So, what do you do in that case? I mean, if Pereira wins, and we gotta go back to Unk. If Pereira wins and we're not gonna go with Unk, anybody in that top stratosphere, Pereira's already beat. And with a loss, the answer for Pereira will be very clear. And it will be what he's wanted all along.
Arman Tsarukyan weighed in on the matchup too, and his outlook was less forgiving. He wasn't shocked at all by Pereira's first loss to Ankalaev and predicted a repeat if the two clash again. Tsarukyan pointed out the precision and power in Ankalaev's striking, especially his dangerous left hand and sharp kicks. In their first fight, Pereira was visibly bothered by leg attacks, forcing him to adjust his stance and limiting his usual movement. Tsarukyan acknowledged that the rematch might stretch into the later rounds and feature moments that are difficult to score, but ultimately he gave Ankalaev the advantage, expecting the Russian's skill set to carry him through once more.
What do you think of the main event, Magomed Ankalaev beating Alex Pereira?
I know that Ankalaev gonna beat him if it's not lucky punch. We know like Pereira, he's so dangerous. He has a good left hook and kicks, leg kicks. But first round he started with leg kicks, and I was scared like again they're gonna like kill his legs, and then he gotta change his stand. But then he could change his game. He started to go forward, and he won last, I think, 4 rounds.
So you scored it for Magomed.
3-2. 5 was like even 50-50, you know. You never know.
Meanwhile, Andrew Tate offered a far more optimistic view. He remembered the days when he and Pereira were almost matched up back in the Showtime era, only for Pereira to face someone else. Having kept a close eye on the Brazilian since then, Tate praised his maturity and resilience, saying that Pereira learns from every fight, win or lose. According to Tate, Pereira has already proven himself as a warrior admired around the world, and this rematch will only add to his story. He expressed full belief that Pereira will step into the octagon better than ever, ready to show the improvements he's made since March.
Last thing, I saw you and your brother in Vegas over the weekend. Do you have any words for Pereira? He took a loss, like any maybe words of encouragement?
Pereira's an OG. Pereira fought Sahak Papayan. And I was supposed to fight Pereira a long time ago, but he ended up fighting Sahak instead back in the It's Showtime days. So him and I have been fighting way back when. So he's been around. He knows the game. Yeah. He understands you win some, you lose some. You either use it to come back stronger and better and learn something, or you use it to destroy you. It's like everything in life, right? So I think he already knows exactly what to do. The world loves him. He knows that.
You think he'll win the rematch?
I think he'll be back. Yeah, the world loves him. He's a loved guy. He'll be back.
Michael Bisping also gave his analysis, striking a balance between respect for Ankalaev's abilities and acknowledgement of the pressure Pereira now faces. He explained that Ankalaev isn't on the same grappling level as someone like Khabib Nurmagomedov or Islam Makhachev, but still has solid wrestling and used it effectively in their first meeting. The real difference, Bisping argued, is that Pereira must take the fight to Ankalaev this time. The Brazilian has to be aggressive, press forward, and force his style on the champion. Another loss could have massive consequences, with Bisping even suggesting it might push Pereira out of the UFC entirely. He pointed to Pereira's own frustrations spilling over online and talk of possibly switching to karate combat or boxing. Still, he added that a win would silence all the outside noise and even line him up for a potential blockbuster against Tom Aspinall, a matchup Bisping himself would be thrilled to watch.
Right, I've been there. I know what it feels like. And yes, Magomed, even though he's from Dagestan, isn't a Habib level wrestler or is that Makachev or something like that. But he does have wrestling in his back pocket. He beat him at his own game. But Pereira is under a lot of pressure here. He's got to come out. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to go forward. If he's going to get that belt back and get some pride back, he's got to win this fight. Because if he doesn't, this might be the last time we see him fight in the UFC. We saw him have a bit of a meltdown on Twitter recently when something didn't go his way. I forget the exact tweet, what it was, but you know what I'm talking about if you follow the sport. And now he's talking about potentially fighting for karate combat. He's talking about potentially boxing. He's made an absolute fortune. He's left his mark on the sport. But if he beats Magomed Ankalaev, then of course, forget about all those conversations. He's going to be staying in the UFC, and he'll probably fancy his chances against Tom Aspinall at some point.
Daniel Cormier didn't sugarcoat things either. He stressed that Pereira cannot afford to be passive in this rematch. The first fight showed that Ankalaev's control came largely from pushing Pereira backward, keeping him stuck against the cage. Even though Pereira wasn't dominated on the ground, he never took control of the action. Cormier's message was simple. Pereira must set the tone early, press forward, and make Ankalaev respect his striking power right away. Waiting back and reacting would be a recipe for disaster. Many fans shared that sentiment, agreeing that Pereira's downfall wasn't his wrestling defense, but his inability to flip momentum and dictate the fight's rhythm.
I think, as you said, it didn't feel like there was going to be much of a difference. But what did feel different was Alex wrestled much better than we expected him to. He defended takedowns much better than we expected him to. He was not ground to the ground. Now it's up to him, Plinio and Glover, and we have seen him come up with game plans before, to make it to where Alex can actually go get it done and not get pressed against the octagon. That's where the difference has to happen, Chill. He wasn't taken down, but he was controlled. So he was controlled in the clinch last time. He was backed up the entire time. How does he move forward without Ankalaev actually pressing into him? I think he needs to get some respect from him very early, Chael, to make Ankalaev take a few steps back. Because right now, Ankalaev has been in there with him, and he'll have more confidence that he can handle the power of Pereira than he did going into fight one. The unknown is the scariest thing in fighting. Man, everybody this guy hits, he puts down or he bludgeons them. Now he knows he went 25 minutes and that didn't happen to him. This guy's been golden for us in regards to stepping up and fighting. But he's plus 150 against Ankalaev, and Ankalaev's minus 180. Chill, I got a question. Are you surprised at the line being that close? Because what we saw in the first fight, it didn't seem like Alex had much for him in regards to answers for stopping Ankalaev from pressing him up against the octagon.
It was a hard fight, and I will tell you that Alex won the first round. That's according to the judges, not just according to me. And then he proceeded to lose the next four. Listen, when that contest was over, I didn't think that any reasonable analysis could come to the conclusion that if they did it again, we would get a different outcome. There was also a little bit of a resistance by the fight. This was billed a little bit differently. It seemed like the UFC was on board, but it was Ankalaev that was going and picking the fight with Alex. It was Ankalaev that was challenging him, calling him out. And I only wonder, generally when a fighter will do that when he's the champion, when the champion starts calling somebody out, particularly a guy that he just beat, it's because his own social media, his own world, the bubble that he lives in, people are disputing it. People are telling, hey, you couldn't do it again. Hey, Alex was hurt. Hey, he fought 4 times in 9 months. Try doing it again. Something like that must have happened to Ankalaev. So I think that the audience perhaps saw it a little bit different than I did, but a lot of times I learned something from the audience. So I'm very open to this idea. But Daniel, how are we going to get Pereira to heavyweight? That's my question. And when he moved up to 205, people kind of misremember this. They think he ran through 85 so much we'll let him go, but that's actually wrong. He lost. He lost is the reason that he was able to move up. And I only share with you, if he loses to Ankalaev, I believe he will be a heavyweight. But I just believe that's the spot we're in right now. He just lost on Goliath. He doesn't have a belt.
Carlos Prates took the most confident stance in Pereira's favor. He believes Pereira has already had the chance to study what went wrong and will come back with the right adjustments. For Prates, the rematch is an opportunity for Pereira to remind everyone why he became a champion in 2 divisions. He predicted that Pereira wouldn't just scrape by, but would look to finish the fight decisively, possibly with the knockout power that has made him such a feared name across MMA.
I think Pereira gonna win. You know, he got a break on his career. You know, he saw all his mistakes, you know, and fix everything. And now I think he's gonna step on the cage and gonna knock Ankalaev out.
The build-up to UFC 320 is filled with layered narratives. On one hand, there's the physical challenge of Pereira cutting nearly 30 pounds in just 2 weeks, something many fans still find unbelievable. On the other, there's the psychological side, with questions about his focus, motivation, and ability to learn from his mistakes. As fight night approaches, the questions pile up. Can Pereira actually pull off another brutal weight cut without compromising his performance? Will he come in with the adjustments needed to handle Ankalaev's pressure and striking? Could this be the fight that defines whether he remains at light heavyweight or sets his sights on heavyweight glory? Either way, the buildup has already delivered drama, from shocking weight checks to heated analyst takes. And when Pereira steps on the scale one final time before the fight, fans will watch closely to see if he manages to do what he has always done: defy expectations, make the weight, and walk into the octagon ready for war.